Well, my personal Cheltenham highlight, we go back to a wonderful era, Kauto Star versus Denman. I had just started work as a assistant producer at Racing UK, as it was back then. And unfortunately, I wasn't lucky enough to be at Cheltenham that year, but I do remember being in the office at Teddington Studios and everyone gathered round the TVs. Some were in Team Denman, some were in Team Kauto Star. I was firmly in the Kauto camp.
And ridden out towards the line, what a reek for Ruby Walsh, his 7th winner. Kauto Star makes history, the first horse to regain the Tote Sport Cheltenham Gold Cup.
And the atmosphere in the office, and I'm sure, well, I know, pretty much around the whole country, was one of real anticipation and excitement, and it was a race that lived up to the billing. It was a horse race that I will never, ever forget, and a really happy time in my life starting out in my career as well with some great mates. So I'll never forget that race.
There's really been celebrations like there was in 1986 when Dawn Run became the first and so far only horse to complete the Champion Hurdle and Gold Cup double. She'd won the Champion Hurdle back in 1984. In 86, I can just recall in my head Sir Peter O'Sullivan's words in the commentary, and the mare's beginning to get up.
And the mare's beginning to get up, and as they come the line, she's made it. Dawn Run has won it.
The celebrations in the winners' enclosure were absolutely, well, amazing. It had to be seen to be believed. Jonesy O'Neill and Charmaine Hill were carried shoulder high by punters. You've never seen scenes like it as Dawn Run became the first and so far only horse to do the Champion Hurdle and Gold Cup double.
My favourite Cheltenham memory has to be Sprinter Sacre's triumphant return when he regained the champion chase after so many issues. It was breathtaking, it was amazing.
They say they never come back. This is one of the great comebacks in the history of the Cheltenham Festival as Sprinter Sacre is the champion again.
What a horse he was. He wasn't quite the horse, the exuberant horse that we've seen before, but to really battle and beat a horse like Undersow at that time in his career was so special, and still to this day for me, the best training performance has ever been.
My favourite Cheltenham Festival memory, it's hard really, I suppose I put two up if I could. Desert Orchid, when he won it in 1989, I was a 10-year-old boy, and it was just amazing.
It's Desert Orchid on the near side, Yahoo on the far side. Desert Orchid drifting over towards the stand side. Desert Orchid is beginning to get up as they race towards the line. There's a tremendous cheer from the crowd as Desert Orchid is going to win it. Desert Orchid has won the Gold Cup. Dessie has done it. Desert Orchid's won it.
It was amazing. I loved that horse. It really got me into horse racing, my dad and my granddad. And when he was the far side from Yahoo and the near side, Sir Peter O'Sullivan's Call. So that really resonates with me still to this day at Desert Orchid. And also Kauto Star in 2009, regaining what he'd done over 2 mile, 3 mile, right-handed, left-handed. He was just a wonderful horse, and him and Denman was a vintage era. So them two in particular stick out.
My strongest Cheltenham memory isn't my favourite or best per se, because it's not one you'd pick out as a favourite, but I'll never forget it because I was stood right by it. And it was when Galopin des Champs fell at the last. It was one of the most dramatic things I've ever seen, and the roar behind you. My job is to be out on track, and you can actually see it on the wide. We're sort of down as close to the last as you can get to. And he's got Bob Bollinger about 30 lengths behind, and all he's got to do is pop it. And he jumped, and he took off, and down he came, and it was just, my hands go up on my head, the cameraman's next to me, he does the same. It was just so intense and so shocking, and that's what you get at the home of jumps racing on those big days. The noise behind, the collective gasp. Yeah, I'll never forget that, being down by the last as he came down.
My greatest memory of the Cheltenham Festival would be Vautour. The three to pick from, he was a triple festival winner, but the one that really stands out was 2015 when he won the JLT Novices Chase, trained by Willie Mullins, owned by Rich Ritchie, ridden by Ruby Walsh. He was explosive that day, his jumping was outstanding, travelled strongly, made all the running and won very easy. On his day he was a hugely talented horse, 5 times Grade 1 winner, but he was a tremendous horse, and that day he would have taken the world of beating regardless of what would have been in opposition.
My favourite Cheltenham Festival memory has to be from 2009, probably one of my earliest memories of the Cheltenham Festival. I think I was around 10 or 11. I got the day off school. We wrote to my headmistress, Mrs. Stanley. So thank you, Mrs. Stanley, for giving me the day off. We said it was an educational visit, which it very much was. And my dad had Walk On running in the Triumph Hurdle. That was one of his first ever racehorses, and he came second to Zaynard. They ended up being kind of lifelong rivals in the end, but he ran such a gallant race, and there was 25 of us that all took a bus down from our village to the festival. It was all of our first times there, and as a 10-year-old, just the atmosphere was just, as it is at Cheltenham, electric. And Kauto Star regained his Gold Cup that year as well, so to be there when that happened was amazing. And Kauto Star was such an influential horse in my journey to loving racing, and so definitely 2009 was a standout.
My favourite Cheltenham Festival memory as a broadcaster came in 2023 when Honeysuckle won the Mayor's Hurdle, and it looked unlikely at the second last, at the last, up the hill. She fought back tenaciously. It was a very emotional success.
They race up towards the line. Honeysuckle is responding to the calls of Rachel Blackmore, and she'll end with a victory. Honeysuckle has done it.
And it was the perfect conclusion to what had been an incredible career for her. I always remember that Coliseum effect when she came back into the winner's enclosure. I wasn't around for Dawn Run. I don't remember Arkle, but Honeysuckle will always be in my memory.
My favourite Cheltenham memory actually came in 2025, so the festival that just went. I had an anti-post ticket on Golden Ace to win the Champion Hurdle, much to the laughter of many people, and I could completely understand why. I was just trying to nick third, and to be honest, she probably should have finished place, but for what happened in the race itself with Constitution Hill and Stateman coming down, I think I might have been the only person cheering at Cheltenham that day. Everyone else looked like they were bereaving a family member, like something terrible had happened, but I was quids in.
Pick your jaw off the floor after the most dramatic Champion Hurdle you will ever see.
That was easily my favourite Cheltenham Festival memory, Golden Ace winning the 2025 Champion Hurdle.
For my favourite memory at Cheltenham, I'm going to go back to the first year that I actually attended the festival in 1996. It had been a little bit of a barren spell for Irish horses in the Gold Cup since Dawn Run's famous win in 86, but that came to an end amid jubilant scenes with a horse called Imperial Call, who was ridden to victory by Conor O'Dwyer, for a real character in Fergie Sutherland.
As they come up the hill, it's Imperial Call who's going to go and take the race for Ireland. It's Imperial Call and Conor O'Dwyer in his first race of the Gold Cup, and at the post, Imperial Call, the winner!
And to be at the Cheltenham Festival for the first time that year, it was only a 3-day meeting back then, and to see the scenes in the winner's enclosure after Imperial Call had beaten the subsequent Grand National winner Rough Quest into second, who I had actually backed on the day itself, it was quite special, and I think ever after that I was always going to have the Cheltenham bug.
Cheltenham Festival memory, my favourite one, I could go back to the brilliance of Sea Pigeon and the Champion Hurdle, or the wonderful occasion that was Dawn Run in the Gold Cup in 86. But you know, sometimes you just think, to hell with it, let's go for the money. Sublimity, 2007 Champion Hurdle, backed it during the winter at a big price. So I've waited a fair bit of time for a bit of after timing. It was very enjoyable seeing Paul Carberry cruise up the hill at Cheltenham. Sublimity 2007 for me.
And it's Sublimity who begins to kick on now. 3 or 4 lengths to Bravinka and Hardy Eustace, the vanquished champions, and a new champion. It is Sublimity.
My favourite Cheltenham Festival memory from a deep bank of brilliant Cheltenham Festival memories was War of Attrition winning the Gold Cup in 2006. It was just the preamble to it. Mouse Morris, the way he had trained the horse for the race, the War of Attrition had that really big run in the Supreme Novices Hurdle a couple of years earlier with Bravinka. He went down by a neck to Bravinka. Then he ran in the Arkle the next year at the Cheltenham Festival, but coming on to the Gold Cup, he was obviously a staying horse and owned by Jigginstown House. This was back in the day when Jigginstown House, they were only just really getting into national hunt racing. We didn't know the behemoth owner that they were going to become, but War of Attrition was really good that day. Conor O'Dwyer rode him and just allowed him move into his race down the hill.
Run on the near side, then Forget the Pass, followed by Take the Stand. War of Attrition by only a length and a half to Hedge Hunter at the last. Great jump by War of Attrition. Hedge Hunter travelling and challenging hard. It's War of Attrition, Conor O'Dwyer, chased hard by Hedge Hunter, and Ruby Walsh is going to be an Irish 1-2, and it's War of Attrition who's staying
and when he kicked him on, he picked up really smartly, jumped the final 2 fences. Hedgehunter actually came at him and stayed on well in behind, but War of Attrition, just the way that he did it for Jigginstown House, such an important winner in the story of Jigginstown House, and massive winner obviously for trainer Maurice Morris, and another big Cheltenham Festival win for Conor O'Dwyer.
My favourite Cheltenham Festival memory is probably a bit of a strange one, but it's 2017 when Fayonagh won the champion bumper. It was my first Cheltenham Festival attending, and I think it was a really important race in terms of my formative years of becoming a real passionate racing fan. And she'd made all to win her previous bumper, and she got left standing at the start that day, was completely blindsided, was detached for most of the race.
Over on the far side, and they're off for the Weatherby's champion bumper, and very slow to begin was Fayonagh. Another one slow to go was Nelson's Touch.
But made unbelievable headway under Jamie Card, and I remember the commentary of Fayonagh beginning to fly from a different parish as she stormed up the hill to win that day.
And it is Fayonagh who begins to get up from last to first, a remarkable win.
So it was the last race I saw of that festival, because I'd done the Tuesday and the Wednesday, but just the manner of the victory, the commentary, just a really thrilling moment, and one I think was important for me in continuing my passion for the sport. And I say, if I've been having a bit of a barren spell on the tipping front, I would often put on Fiona's winning the champion bumper, and it never fails to bring a smile to my face.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.